You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up. Weekdays catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope the show finds you in great spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that, okay? Let us not forget that another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Welcome, 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 every single last one of y'all for being here. Or thank you so much for being here. That's what I meant to say. Welcome to the show. We got some things we got to talk about. There's a lot going on in these internet streets outside of what you're reading above or down below, wherever you're reading this show or watching this show and reading this title. We got a lot to talk about. There's a few things that I need to talk about, to lead into this before we get into the main topic, okay? There's just something I need to say. There's something we need to talk about before we get into everything, okay? But nonetheless, thank you so much for being here. We got some crazy bombshell information that just dropped, and I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out. What up, Coach John Parker on Instagram? Okay, what up? I'm live on Instagram right now as we speak. All right, and there's a reason for that too. So we're going to talk about all that and then some. So please do me a favor before we get into everything. Hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms, because I'm streaming on all kinds of different platforms. Everything from Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, Rumble, Twitch, Kick. Make sure you're watching on all those platforms, okay? That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Let's not forget, of course, if you're watching on my main channel, the YouTubes, please and thank you. Crush that subscribe button over there, okay? We here for a Saturday show, and we got some things we have got to talk about. So make sure you're subscribed here, okay? On my YouTube channel, go to I got two other channels. My second channel is the Pascal Show Clips, and of course I have Pascal Raw. Okay, so go check those out. Brand new podcast called Pascal Raw. All right, maybe having a brand new one tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully, if everything goes according to the plan, as long as there's no huge change of plans or huge breaking news going on, there will be a podcast coming out on tomorrow, Sunday, Pascal Raw. So be on the lookout for it. Okay, hit that join button down below. Become a member, check out my Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. Yes, indeed. PascalMerch.Kazam. Okay. All right, guys. We got some things we have got to talk about. Some really crazy stuff is going on in the internet. Okay. Okay. There's a lot of crazy stuff that's going on in the internet, especially in the world of TikTok. Yes, you might be wondering, what are you talking about, Pascal? What's up? What's going on? Why are you saying TikTok? Well, the reason why I'm bringing up the TikTok is because there are a lot of content creators that are losing their platforms. They're losing their channels on TikTok. I lost my platform this morning. Yeah, my whole channel got completely deleted and I got banned on the TikTok. You want to know why? Do you want to know why? Because I talked about CK, Mr. Kirkland. Apparently, I don't even know if I can even say his name on this platform anymore. Yeah. Now, I want to make it abundantly clear. A lot of the videos, a lot of the TikToks that I was making, I was putting on all these other platforms too. Okay. So you get to see them. I spread them out. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. They're shorts on YouTube. Let me just tell you something here really quick. You can see for yourself the videos that I was posting up. There is no opinion in there. They are just fact-based. They are news-based. They are just off of what I'm reading off the news. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm not saying anything good about his passing, and I'm not saying anything bad about his passing. I'm just talking about what's going on in these streets and the search at the time, the search for the assailant, which of course is Tyler Robinson, and giving you guys the information, but in short format. Because, not everybody has time to sit here and watch a show for 2 hours, an hour and a half to 2 hours. Some of y'all don't even have 8 minutes to sit and listen to something. Okay. So what's really crazy about this? Because listen, I'm not mad about it. I woke up and I was like, oh, damn, that sucks. Oh, I was upset about it, but I was like, okay, moving on. Okay. And of course I'm appealing for the channel. I'm trying to get my channel back and all that stuff, but it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. Because here's the thing. It's not only happened to me, okay? I just want to make this abundantly clear. This has happened to a lot of my content creator friends. Some other friends have lost their channels outright, gone, because they were covering the CK case, which is weird. Don't you find it a little odd? Let me also point this out. There are other people on these platforms that are praising this tragedy, that are, you know what I mean, damn near doing cartwheels. Okay? Me and the other people that I know that lost their platforms weren't doing that. Just stating facts. We hear that this guy is here. We hear that his name is Tyler. We hear that this, and this. We're reading from legacy media, this information. This is not like word on the street is, okay? I heard from a little bird. You know what I mean? No. Okay? No. Just giving the facts. Okay? And thank you, Whitney. I appreciate that. I felt you were covering it with respect, Pascal. Thank you. I appreciate that. And damn right I was. Damn right I am. Damn right I am. I'm covering this mother lover with absolute 110% respect. But I'm not speaking. Here it is. Like TikTok was TikTok is TikTok. Like it wasn't my life. My main platform, you guys already know what that is. Okay? So it's, like I said, I'm not waking up and going, "Oh God," you know what I mean? I'm not doing that. I'm not in the shower, in a cold shower, rocking myself crying, you know what I mean, with some music in the background. Long ago, you know what I mean? I'm not doing that. I'm okay. But I know that there's a lot of other content creators that just lost their livelihood. So I'm mainly speaking on that side. Now I'm starting to understand something here. I didn't put two and two together until this morning. Had a conversation with some good friends of mine, and they just kind of dropped it like it's hot in my brain. And I said, "Oh my damn, you got a point there. Holy damn." Now here's the thing. Let me just point this out. So the White House did take over TikTok. I just want to point that out. Enough said. White House has taken over TikTok. And I'm not sitting here saying anything, no ill will, no shade, no nothing like that. But let me be real. White House has taken over TikTok. And I've noticed that TikTok might be a little hard right. And if you say anything surrounding CK, suddenly that turns into red flag. You're getting hit with these community guideline violations, which makes no sense because I wasn't violating any guidelines. So what's funny is I watched a TikTok last night before all this went down because, like I said, I woke up first thing in the morning, okay, and suddenly, bang, I got hit. I'm like, how in the hell did this happen? Because I'm only stating the facts. I'm only stating what they're giving to us as facts. How's that? Okay? You could take that as you wish. But I listened to this video yesterday, right? And in this video, it's another guy, really great content creator, very smart kid, right? And he's putting in a lot of his videos are a lot of how things are going on in the world. You catch my drift. It has nothing to do with CK. It's just like the other things, things being deployed, things showing up to different cities, so on and so forth. And he's just putting in his 2 cents. And he said, yeah, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of issues coming up in the near future, because he said, even my channel has been flagged several times. We had to appeal and get our stuff back, only for us to lose those videos again, reappeal, get them back, then get them knocked back down again. So now I'm starting to see, that platform, if you talk about anything remotely political, you may get flagged, or you may have your whole channel taken down. This is just the vibe I'm getting now. And this is kind of what this content creator said on their platform. And then they're like, so please follow me on these other platforms, because, we're still talking, we're still covering these things, but apparently the TikTok doesn't like that too much, like at all. Now, what I want to point out here, it's crazy shadow banned or just shutting you down completely. But I want to point something out that I think is very, very interesting about this whole thing. Number one, isn't this how CK lost his life? Isn't this why CK lost his life? If you cut down everything, forget your opinions about the guy, whether you like him or not, put it all on the side. Let's talk about why this man lost his life. What is it? First Amendment right? 1A. I know everybody talks about their 2A. My gun, my rights. Okay, fine. What about 1A? Freedom of speech, okay? Let's not forget that, y'all. Freedom of speech. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to like knocking down channels and stuff, it's not one hater. It has to be either multiple haters or a bot that they sent out into the matrix flying around, and they just find random words and they go, oh, as soon as they say CK's full name, they just go, okay, ban. That's what's happening to everyone on the Tiki. Just so you know, which is wrong. Because a lot of these people who are talking, that I know of at least, are sitting right in the middle, sitting on the fence, just basically saying, hey, here are the facts. Here's what's going on. Here's the news. No color commentary, no nothing else. Just the news. And now, blammo. Okay? Now, blammo. I'm not the only channel on Tiki. Multitude of other channels have lost their channel. Livelihood, gone. Because they said this particular guy's name. That is a big problem. That is a very big problem. Remember, this is someone who relied and stood steadfast on freedom of speech. And guess what they're doing right now in the Tiki? Taking out people's voices just for saying the guy's name. Oh, Nicole B, I lost the whole channel. I said channel, baby. I said channel. Whole thing gone. Years of work gone. Now, don't get me wrong. It wasn't like a huge platform or a huge channel. But at the same time, I was doing what I was doing. And I just started I was just starting to get acquainted with that app and with that platform. And then out of nowhere, because I did I think 5 different videos about CK. Like I said, no color commentary, no craziness. Like I said, the same videos are on here on the tubes. They're on IG. They're on FB right now. Those are the same ones. I didn't say anything that would go against any community guidelines, unless out of nowhere they go and they just randomly changed a few words and they just threw in CK's name in there. For what reason? Like I said, if you're saying like, thank God, I'm happy you know what I mean, fill in the blank, right? If you were one of those, I can see that. But if you're out here doing your job and just giving the news, it's kind of jacked up. It's kind of jacked up. And I also will say this too. I know this is going to sound crazy, but even those people who are doing those videos where they're like, you know, very reactive and they're rejoicing, I don't agree with those things. But at the same time, that's their right. That's their right to do too. Just so you know, that's their right. I may not agree with it, but that's their right. Like with Charlie, with CK, I almost caught myself slipping. Okay. But even with that, okay, even with him, I didn't agree with what he had to say, but that's his right to say what he wants to say. Doesn't mean I have to like it. Doesn't mean I have to listen to it. He had his little corner in the world. I have my little corner in the world. That's it. Okay? Period, y'all. So again, what's very interesting about this is that this happened. And it's fine. Like I said, I'm fine with it. Totally fine. It's cool. It is what it is. But at the same time, we're in an age where the powers that be should not be having control over an app. Like the White House having control over the app. That's a little weird. Are we in China? We definitely are not. But again, this is taking people's voices away. And that's my problem. Like I said, you know, I was making, you know, I had a few videos, few views here and there. It wasn't anything too crazy, but I was like, dang, that's crazy that just happened. Now, yes, somebody asked, can you appeal? I think that was a super chat here. Yes, Hollis, thank you so much. Can you appeal your ticky? Yes. I have, but that's the thing. I have to sit idly by and wait to see if they actually give me my channel back. If not, I may start another one all over again, but I may just, you know, slowly but surely bring that, you know what I mean, start it all over again. I'm in no rush to start a whole new channel all over again. It takes a lot of work to do these things, guys. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of passion. It takes a lot of focus. And that one was already set and humming. It's fine. Like I said, it's fine. But I'm saying this out loud because this is completely the absolute opposite of what I feel CK stood for. He believed in speaking your mind, saying what you need to say. And even though I was saying things that were just facts, it's really messed up. You utter one word. You know what I mean? You utter one word, you get in trouble. Oh, the Tubes was like that too. The Tubes was like that too a couple years ago. You talked about the Rona. You talked about that poke. You even said those words. These bots are flying in and going pew, 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 and just destroying your channels. Real talk. So I just wanted to point that out. I wanted to say this out loud because honestly, like I said, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. You see what I'm saying? I'll be fine. I'm going to keep doing what I do. But at the same time, this is a perfect example of how they are going and they're violating the right to speak, especially when it's something that you're not saying anything remotely. I'm not saying anything remotely bad. Like I said, it's, hey, this is what's happening. This is what happened. Here it is, blah, blah, blah. Like the last two videos I put up on this as shorts and on IG, there's nothing going against it, right? There's nothing that would be like, oh, guideline violation right there. You know what I mean? Go and take it. You know what I mean? You take a look at it, you'll be like, oh, okay. You know how I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm very, very cautious on what I say and how I say certain things. So again, this is something, okay? This is something that should very well be I have not blocked any people on my Carrie, you got it all wrong. But okay. You got it all wrong. But at the same time, it's fine. Like I said, it's just one platform. And, eventually I'll probably start one all over again eventually. But like I said, I'm going to see what they say with the appeal, but it shouldn't be happening this way. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not speaking out like this because it's just on me. I've spoken to other content creators that had TikTok accounts that have been flagged or have lost their whole channel. And I think unjustly, because I've seen their content and their content is good. It's just the facts, Jack, just the facts. So again, the ones that I've seen that are like, oh, thank you for doing, man, who did that? Thank you so much for doing that, blah, blah, blah. Like that stuff, I'm like, damn, you didn't catch that, but you're catching little old tiny channel of mine giving the news. Okay. But this guy lived off of and thrived off of freedom of speech. And now you're stifling our voices because we're simply just saying his name. Simply saying anything that's political. That's a problem, guys. That's a massive problem because now it's not just CK. If you're talking about anything, you could be talking about Epi. You could be talking about the Jizzy. You could be talking about the deployments that are going on, that are going to be going on very, very soon. Okay. Memphis, potentially Chicago, etc. Any of those things, you talk about any of that stuff on that platform, you in trouble. You might as well start doing skits. I'm being real. Might as well do pranks and skits because that's all you're going to be able to do. Oh, and like fashionista stuff or like, how to make this wonderful pumpkin spice cinnamon roll from scratch. You'll be able to do that. You'll be able to do that pretty much. But outside of that, nothing. Yeah. So just so you guys know, okay? Just so you know. And it's like I said, it's fine. But I think it's very, very interesting that thing went down the way it went down. And I'm being transparent with you guys so that you guys know, okay? And I'll say this too. Please follow me on Facebook. Go over to my Facebook, my FB. Go check it out. Follow, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm putting out. Like I said, I'm doing in short form. Yes, I'm putting them on YouTube as well, but that's where I'm going. Okay. Yeah. You call it cooking with Pascal. Yeah. Pumpkin wine. That sounds disgusting. General, that sounds disgusting. Okay. So again, like I said, I just wanted to give you guys that update and let you know what's going on because I have a problem with the censorship that's going on. We already have enough censorship on all these platforms. We have to do really ridiculous, stupid things like unaliving, right? Can't believe that person was unalived, or he's going to be, catching some M charges, right? R and SA and all these things that we got to do, all these acronyms and these abbreviations that we got to do just so we can continue telling you guys the stories. It's already ridiculous. But now you can't have an opinion about how the way the world is, or even mine. It's not even opinion. It's just talking about how the world is, or giving the news about what's going on. That is a huge problem, y'all. Massive problem. Massive problem. And that needs to be handled immediately. I'm telling you guys, this is the thing I worry about all people. This is going to happen to everybody, because at some point, somebody's going to talk about CK just to address the situation. Here's how I feel about it, or we need to be better as a people, blah, blah, blah. You just mutter the man's name and you're getting flagged. That's insane. Shouldn't have to be that way. And I don't think that Charlie Kirk would stand for it either. Real talk. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. So it's just very interesting. Okay, yeah, we all need a cheat sheet. Okay, we all need a glossary to understand, okay, CK really means, Jizzy really means, Epi really means. We got all these code words. It's so annoying, right? Ridiculous. So again, I think that is very, very interesting, but it is what it is, right? And I think and also I'm saying this out loud because of those who are TikTok creators that you guys, I'm sure you're watching right now. All I say is to be careful, okay? Because I know there's a lot of people that have way more followers than me, way more on TikTok, that are finding success, that are suddenly talking about this situation because it's insane, heartbreaking, and it's breaking, right? And everyone's talking about it. I just say tread lightly. Definitely tread lightly, okay? Definitely tread lightly. That's what I'll say. Moving on, though, okay? I appreciate you guys letting me, appreciate you guys letting me say that, but I needed to get that off my chest. I had that. I was thinking about that all morning, all afternoon, or most of this afternoon before I got on here. And I was like, okay, I do need to talk about it, because I want to give you guys, you TikTokers that are watching these shows every once in a while, a heads up. If you are politically based, I don't know, you might want to build your platform somewhere else. I don't know if the pendulum is going to swing back anytime soon. Okay. And it is with the White House in control. They're adding new things. They're controlling that platform. I hope it doesn't turn into a thing where they control the other platforms. Okay. Just being real. We're going to be watching a little bit of that, actually, Nicole. We will be taking a look at that for sure today. Again, we'll be looking at that. Hector, thank you so much. You genuinely stay neutral and centered on politics, or on topics. I'm sorry, but once you lean a bit right, welcome to being censored and mass reported by the left. There's nothing new to the right. This is nothing new to the right. Well, I mean, I've gone both sides, guys. Okay, I've leaned left, I've leaned right. I have opinions on both sides. Okay, there's things I agree with on the right, there's things I agree with on the left, and vice versa. You know what I mean? That there's things I disagree with the left and things that I disagree with the right. Okay, it is what it is. I like to think for myself, and I'm not sitting here saying like this is a dig at anybody who is right or left or anything like that. I'm just saying I just think for myself. I got a lot of questions, and I think for myself. That is it. I might dance to the beat of my own little drummer, but that's just me. Okay. That's just me. I hear something and I'm like, okay, interesting. Well, why though? You see what I'm saying? And then there's other things where it's like, yep, yeah, that's messed up. Yeah, that's wrong. Or, yeah, I can see that point. But what about this? You know what I mean? That's just me. That's just how I think. Doesn't mean anything bad. Doesn't mean anything good. It just is who I am, you know? And I find peace in that world. But if you notice, this is one of the other reasons why I don't do a whole lot of political stuff. It hasn't been like that until just recently, ever since, Trump lost part of his ear, right? That's when I suddenly got sucked back in to, got sucked back into the political realm. But see, the thing is people are so quick to hear one moment and say, okay, I know exactly how he leans. And it's like, well, you haven't even heard the show then. Like I said, there's certain things that I think are very left. And there's certain things that I think that I believe in that are very right. You know, it just is what it is. I wouldn't say alt-right, okay? But definitely right. Like I said, I sit in the middle. I waver. I listen to the politicians that are going for the election, for the top of the mountain, okay, to get that brass ring, to get that seat at the throne, okay, to be crowned, okay, and I listen to both of them, and I go, what are they going to do for me and my loved ones? That's going to help me and help this country, because like I've said before, what do we need in our life, right? We need good food, good money, good hibbity dibbity, our children growing up good, and for us to die good. I know that sounds ridiculous, but those are the things that I think are very important. Oh, and have a good relationship with the higher being that you believe in, whatever it may be, okay? That's it. Love who you love, whoever that may be. And I know that some people will be like, oh my God, that's so far left. I'm not listening to him anymore. That's ridiculous if you do that. That's ridiculous. See, this is the reason why I don't talk many politics on this show all the time. The reason why we're talking about this is because it goes into the true crime realm. Okay? It does. When it comes to a tragedy like this is true crime like a mother lover. It just happens to be on a political figure. And it's not going to stop me from talking about this ever. Ever. And if you are going to sit there and wait to hear something for me to say that's going to make you go unfollow or unlisten, then good on you. Go with God. Find that platform that only screams into one echo chamber for the rest of their being, with their veins popping out and their face damn near going purple. Enjoy yourself. Okay? But on some real stuff, we're here to talk about what's going on and talk about these things as a people. As a people. Oh my God. This is the reason why I am tired. Instantly tired when it comes to talking about anything that goes with anything political, because everyone's so judgmental right out the gate. How can anyone have a civil conversation with anyone when out of the gate, everyone is judging you? Doesn't matter. That's ridiculous, and that's extremely sad. How does anyone function in life like that? How do people function in life like that? A lot of y'all going to have strokes in a very near future because you guys are so wound up so damn tight over the littlest, ridiculous, most trivial things in the world. And I get it. We all want to drive this car. We all want to drive the car. We're all in the back seat. We all think we know how to drive this car. We all think we know how to grill this steak. But we ain't the ones actually grilling the damn steak now, are we? Think about it. What about human condition? What about actually liking me for me? For what I do, for what I bring to the show? What about that? Has anybody ever thought about that for like 2 seconds? Oh, I like how he brings the information and he brings some humor. seems like a good guy. At least I'd like to think that I am. That's what should matter. When I leave this planet, I don't need somebody going, but he was a damn good liberal or a damn good conservative. That's not who I am. I'm more than that. You guys, every single all 1,819 of you guys and 5 on Instagram. I know we're working. All you guys are amazing and unique. I don't judge you by if you're red or blue. You shouldn't judge me. That shouldn't even matter. Sure, I got my opinions. So do you. Do we agree all the time? Hell to the no. See, this is the moment. What happened here with Charlie Kirk is absolutely tragic. And yes, it should piss all of us off. Every single last one of us. It should piss us all off. Not because of his opinions, but because this is somebody, not because of his opinions, okay? But because he went onto a microphone and he spoke out. Because this could happen to any other creator that you appreciate and love as well. Also because we're too busy judging each other by the color of our politics rather than the content of our character. And that is a huge problem. That is a huge problem. And this is the moment where we should wake the F up and start coming together as a country and as people and realize that we all bleed red, that we all have a heart beating in our chest, rather than what side are you on? What do you think? What do you say? Come on. It's sad, y'all. We need to be better. You mean to tell me all your friends are MAGA support? Like, if you are a MAGA supporter, which, hey, that's on you. Do you, boo-boo, okay? No judgment here. I don't care. But you tell me you have friends that are just all MAGA? You don't have a sibling or a relative, a cuz that might lean blue? Same thing, asking the same question on the other side. You might be hardcore liberal. You might be a supporter of the LGBTQ plus community. You mean to tell me you don't have anybody in your family that might be MAGA? Or was left and then suddenly voted Trump recently, this past election? Converted, changed their ways, changed their thoughts about things? All I'm saying is we need to be better. We need to be better as people. It's depressing where we are. Okay? It's depressing where we are. I don't know how we got here. And no, I'm not pointing blame at anyone, because that's how we do now. We instantly go, oh, it's all them damn dammies, them damn conservatives, them damn MAGAs, right? Instead of actually asking questions and getting to the heart of who this person is, or getting down to the reason of this whole thing that went down in the first place. Now, I know we're going to be going into this thing here in just a second, and I'm going to be real. This is messed up. This is absolutely crazy. But listen to how we are looking at this situation. Look at how media is starting to shift focus in a way. Instead of looking at this one individual who did this, and maybe it's from a group of people or maybe a handful of individuals that were behind this, instead of us actually looking to try to find those people and bringing them into justice, it is just one side to blame, and that's it. That's a big problem, y'all. That's a massive, massive problem. I can break bread with the most MAGA of MAGA, and I can break bread with the most liberal of liberal. I don't care. If you're a good person, that's what matters. Us having conversations. I mean, if you racist, we ain't talking, okay? Let me just keep it a bean, all right? I ain't got time for racism, okay? But at the same time, if you just are a good person, shoot, we can have a beer and have a great time. Come on, baby. Life is dope. Let's stop pointing fingers and blaming everybody else. When 9 times out of 10, we should be looking at ourselves and figure out what we can do to make the situation better. Okay, I'm done. Like, I love you guys. Like, that I come in here with love. At least I try to. Some days are hard to get on here. Some days are hard to talk to you guys. Real talk. But I always try to keep it open. I'm not perfect. I know somebody will be, no, that's not the truth because, and it's like, listen, I'm not perfect. I have my opinions too. Okay. But I always try to come back to be better. I always try to come back trying to be better. I try to be better. I'm human, just like you guys. I'm human. I make mistakes just like anybody else. But one thing I know for sure is that we need to go back, okay? We need to go back and resort back to good and whatever that is for you. But this has turned into, like I said before, I feel like it's like we're living in a real life political version of East Side versus West Side, like Blood versus Crips. And it's like you red, cuh, you blue, cuh. Like they're waiting to see the bandana hanging out the back pocket, real talk, to make sure they can rock with you or not. You're part of this crew or not, bro. I don't see that brand on your forearm, bro. So I don't F with you, homie. If you don't bleed red, bro, then you ain't nothing, bro. That's where we're at. It's funny, but it's true, though, baby. It's funny, though, but it's true. We living in some crazy times, and we need to start acting right because we ain't acting right. And this is a full-on test right now. What happened to CK is an absolute test. And I want to see how the powers that be are going to handle this point on. But we also got to be watching ourselves, too. We need to start acting right. That's something we need to figure out. Start acting right, period. And I don't mean right because it's like, right meaning conservative or anything. I'm saying start acting good. Start acting righteous. Start acting from a place of good, from a heart, from a place of warmth. Start with love, right? Lead with love. And I'm not talking about Diddy love, okay? We ain't talking about that Diddy love, okay? We don't need no Astroglide, no baby oil. We good on that, okay? But we for damn sure need love, okay? Period. So let's get into this, guys. I apologize, but it's just frustrating. And like I said, if I lose some of y'all, it's okay. It's okay. But for those of y'all who stick with me and ride with me, y'all understand, okay? Now, here's the thing. I'm still trying to figure out if this is true or not. I'm going to keep it real. Let's just take a look at this title. So apparently CK's alleged monster, okay, see how I have to do these code words even on all these other platforms? I do them on the other platform too, which is insane, right? Diabolical. But it's okay. I'm going to be fine. It's fine. So Tyler Robinson, okay, lived apparently with a transgender partner. You can't make this up. Yeah, you can't even write this, guys. You can't even write this. This is a real deal. The real deal Holyfield. Yes, this is crazy work. This is crazy work. This is crazy work. And here's the thing. There's people out here that are saying, no, this can't be true, man. This ain't true, bro. It's not true, man. I think that it is. You got Fox News talking about it as well. You got things coming from New York Post. Of course, I still want to know if we're going to get any confirmation from authorities as well, right? To be like, yes, the roommate that they talked about is actually his transgender boyfriend. I'm still waiting for that, or transgender partner. I don't know how they identify themselves. Okay, I don't. But on some real stuff, this is real. Skadoosh. I'm surprised just as much as anybody else. Aren't you? Now, of course, there were some things written, inscribed, okay, on ammunition that were kind of leaning towards some semblance of, how do I say it? Transgender, pro-trans ideologies and anti-fascist ideologies as well. Now, like the ooey-oo, I still don't understand it, but I know I'm not in that world, okay? I still don't understand it because I'm not in that world, nor will I ever be in that world. Respectfully, no dig. Do you live your life, okay? As long as you don't get radicalized, okay? But a partner. So this was the rumor, the roommate, I'm sorry, that they were talking about. The roommate came over, apparently was talking with police. Okay? Shella, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay? I don't know. People are crazy. And some of these platforms are just controlled by the powers, by the powers that be. And I happen to just be a casualty of saying CK's name. Okay? It's okay. Like I said, it's fine. But they cannot take my voice like that. And that's not right. But we'll see how it transpires. But nonetheless, the roommate that they said during that press conference is in fact this partner of his. So maybe, I feel like it's a safe bet that this is where he maybe became indoctrinated, maybe lost his mind, whatever. Okay? And yes, roommate was born male, transitioning to female. And apparently they were romantically involved. Just so you know. Let's get into this. It's very interesting. Very interesting. So Kirk's alleged monster, Tyler Robinson, was living with a transgender partner who was in the process of transitioning from male to female. A law enforcement source confirmed it confirmed to the Post. This is what we're reading. This is the article that we're reading right now. By the way, this is exactly the type of stuff I'd be doing on TikTok, reading from literal articles on my TikToks. And here's the thing. A lot of my TikToks are under by like 90 seconds or less. So there's really no time for color commentary in those TikToks. You see what I'm saying? So it was very quick. Like this is what's going on, blah, 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 moving on, right? There's no time for opinions in 90 seconds, right? So I'm just reading the information and going, hey, what are your thoughts? Comment down below. And then I leave. Then I'm done. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But moving on. That individual, who has yet to be publicly identified by the authorities, is now fully cooperating with the FBI on its investigation into the fatal the fatal tragedy of the conservative activist. The relationship was first reported by Fox News' Brooke Singman. Let me see if I can see that. I think she still has it up. Yep, here it is. Brooke Singman from Fox News was the first one to drop it like it's hot, okay? And she said exclusive. Charlie Kirk's monster, Tyler Robinson, lived with his transgender partner, sources tell me. the individual, who is a male transitioning to female, is fully cooperating with police. Yeah, this person is fully talking with police. So when they had that press conference, let me remind you, remember when they had that press conference just the other day? And you had the governor sitting there saying that the roommate is chopping it up with them and saying that they are giving out information like the his Discord messages and the messages through text messages and all that stuff that he was having, right, with other people allegedly. Yeah, that roommate is now his trans lover. You can't make this up. Okay? You can't make this up. Now, if this is entirely true, this is wild. Moving on. Sources tell me that the FBI had texts and other communications between Robinson and the individual that helped FBI authorities solidify that Tyler Robinson, was indeed the person who pulled the trigger. So let's get back over to this. According to public records, the person's name is Lance Twiggs. I'm wondering if this last name is real. Okay. Literally, I'm wondering if that's like a fake name or something like that. All right. They're 22 as well. Resided at the same address where Tyler Robinson lived. A relative of Twiggs confirmed to the Post on Saturday that, quote unquote, yes, they were roommates. Now, here's the thing. Before we continue on, obviously, here's his mug shot. There's that mug. All right. Here's the thing. Let's talk about this here for like a hot minute. Okay. For just a really quick minute. Let's just ruminate. Let's wax possibilities. Shall we, love? Okay. So here's the thing. There's still a possibility that they were just roommates. No, I know. Hold on. Don't get mad at me. Okay, don't get mad at me. All right. But there's still a possibility. No, they might not be booty bandits. Okay. They may not be that. They may just live together. But that still doesn't, but that still says that he was left leaning. Let me just point something out really quick. Okay. Yes, Helen, we're using these SAT words, you see. Where's the Chardonnay? Okay, so here's the thing. Ruminating, yes. Here's the thing. Think about this. Why would Twiggs live with a hardcore MAGA supporter? Because he just needed a roommate really bad, or they really needed a roommate really bad? I tell you what, they're not going to live with somebody who's hardcore MAGA. There's just no way. If they are out and in the middle of transitioning, just ride with me for a minute, okay? Let me cook. Think about this for a second, okay? You really think that particular person, Twiggs, is going to be in the same vicinity, same household, splitting the rent, the bills, even packages of ramen noodles with the likes of somebody that is hardcore Trump? Go ahead, answer. I want to know. Lori said, why not? That's a new one for me. Lori, I don't see it. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of, forward-thinking individuals in the world that are left-leaning or that are right, okay? It's like, hey, I'm conservative, but I believe that, trans people should have their rights and be able to do their things. There are people out there in the world too, okay? So like I said, there's still a possibility that there was no knocking the boots between these two. And they were just roommates. And he was kind of like, hey, man, Twigs does his thing, I do my thing. We split the rent and it's cool. That's possible. But is it though? Is it 100% though? I'm just saying. Somebody said they missed the question. Here it is. Do you really think that Twigs, the roommate, partner, would really live with somebody else that is hardcore right if there's someone who is hardcore left? Somebody said, love can blind you. I'm done. I'm done. It would be a very tough life if you were in the same space at the same time. He's wearing Make America Great Again memorabilia, and you are not. I'm just saying. Yes, people can live together and coexist and all that stuff, but it's a little bit of a stretch. Okay? Somebody said, let me close my eyes. You don't need to close your eyes for this, but I'm just saying, think about it for a second. Okay, that's just my thoughts, okay? That it might be a little bit of a stretch to think that, let's just say, because you got to remember, let me say this too. He comes from the grandmother, Tyler's grandmother, has said that he comes from a very, very Trump supportive family. That's how he grew up. Shoot, one of his Halloween costumes was him in a Trump costume thing. Okay? He grew up MAGA. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not. But he grew up hardcore Republican. And then you're living with somebody who may not be, let's just say, may not be MAGA, okay? And they're in the middle of transitioning. And it's not like it's something that they can hide if they're in the middle of transitioning, right? So here it is. Still, we leave on the table the possibility of this guy being a roommate to Twigs. That's a possibility, but I don't think it is. I think it really is a romantic relationship. They live together. It is what it is. Why would this guy, or why would Twigs go out of their way to tell the police that they're in a romantic relationship with the guy, with Robinson? Yeah, I mean, it sounds like this was all on the DL. Okay? Nobody has to know. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, okay. Just asking the question. So let's continue on. Because I know that's something that people are like, no, that's not true. And it's like, well, it might very well be mother-loving Trudeau. Okay? It may very well be Trudeau. And I'm not talking about Canada. Okay? So let's continue on. This apparently is Twigs. At least one of his photos, or their photos. Twigs right here. Badao. Like I said, why would this particular person go to police and tell them, yes, we're together? Why would he do that if it's not true? That seems weird. I'd be like, I don't know that guy at all. We ain't together. We were friends. Now we were friends. What the hell? We friends. No, I don't know him. But they said they together. Let's continue on, though. So moving on. And the roommate, or the relative, said they were indeed roommates. These two were indeed roommates. Why would the relative go, yeah, they roommates if it wasn't true. So they living together at least. Okay. So is there something that happened? Okay. Yeah, he claiming his man. Okay. Yeah, that's my man. That's what he's doing. Straight up. That's my man. That's what he's doing right now. Okay. Yeah. This particular guy was on the DL. Maybe not Twigs. Maybe that's what the thing is. Twigs really wanted this relationship to be out there. He wanted it to be out there for everyone to know. And maybe Robinson didn't want to know that. Didn't want people to know, right? As the world turns. You know what I mean? I think that's what's going on here. I'm just keeping it a bean, y'all. Okay? So the family member who's asked not to be identified told or said Twigs was the quote unquote black sheep of their St. George, Utah family, but declined to speculate on a romantic relationship between the two men. Again, Twigs could be crazy too, but I still don't understand why. You got to, okay, think about this for a second. You also got to remember this too. Ooh, I got things to talk to you guys about. Hear me out, okay? Hear me out. Hear me out. You got a guy who went out of his way, probably talked to some people online, which we're going to talk about here very shortly, found his way up on top of a roof, took aim at CK, pulled the trigger, right? But what's really crazy? Remember when he said, or when he pulled the trigger at the moment that a person was asking him about trans assailants in mass tragedies? And they were talking about that, and the dude pulled the trigger right then. Very on note. And maybe the guys thought in his mind, Tyler thought in his mind, perfect opportunity. Bang. His roommate, we'll just do this, very loose quotations. His roommate is trans. He goes all the way there, gets on top of a roof. Perfect opportunity. He waited. He sat there. He got his sight on point, all that stuff. He waited. And then he heard the question. Now, I believe the guy who asked the question just happened to ask the question. I think it was a coincidence. It's tragic. But that was the perfect opportunity for that guy to do what he needed to do. In his mind, it's poetic. In his mind, it's ironic. In his mind, he's sending a message. As soon as they talked about trans in mass tragedies, what happened? Charlie Kirk within seconds lost his life. Okay, let's do the reverse math. So he did that. He has a trans roommate, and you mean to tell me he just did this out of willy-nilly? No. He was inspired by or felt passionate about whatever was going on with his roommate. And then he did what he did. So, roommate, lover, whichever you want to say, okay? Whichever way you want to say it, no matter what, this roommate is indeed in transition. Let's move on. So she said, this family member, okay, said she didn't know her relative's politics or whether Twigs was transitioning to become a woman, but added that it wouldn't surprise her. The family member said she knew Twigs was brought in for questioning by police, and they were. And then they went up and said, here are the text messages. Here's the computer of him having conversations with people allegedly on Discord. Yes. And yes, that's my man. That's my man. Yes. Kirk, which we already know was struck in the neck, which we already know about all of that. Okay. And this, of course, was the question right here that started it all. Okay. Sorry for saying it like this, but this was the trigger question. All right. Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass assailants? Got to use these code words over the last 10 years. There it is. There it is. And then he pulled the trigger. So when you think about it, okay, as we sit and think about this, because I know some people, I get it. Some people are going to be like, no, he's right. He is a right-leaning mother lover. This is some Groyper stuff. Right now, he's got a trans roommate / lover that he was on the DL with, it sounds like. I'm sure his pastor, former sheriff's father, I'm sure, is shook by this information as well. And clearly this man, which right here, clearly this man, something's not right with this guy. Clearly, something snapped in his mind. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's left either. Here's the thing, too, because I've been seeing posts online where people are like, that means he's a trans shooter. I'm like, wait a second. How do you know? No, he's not trans. He's in a relationship with someone who happens to be trans, but he's not trans. You see what I'm saying? So again, sure, you could say that he's not left-leaning. I think he is. But at the same time, that doesn't change, or that shouldn't mean take out every damn dummy you can think of. That's what's so sad about the streets right now. Okay? The streets are losing their minds, and they just want to do all kinds of bad things to all kinds of people for no freaking reason whatsoever. Okay? Just because of what's going on here. But again, look at this, and I see what's going on, and this is some crazy, crazy stuff. Okay? Now, we got more. Let me pull up Fox talking about this. And again, I'm quite curious, because in the very beginning, they really were saying in the very beginning, oh, this is a trans assailant. And I'm going, wait, are we sure about that? Because the photos show me that he looks very male, unless he tried to look straight so that he can pass. Okay. But at the same time, technically he is not. Did he do this on behalf of the trans community? Quite possibly. You see what I'm saying? So that's something I'm hoping that we get an answer about here very, very soon. So let's take a look at this clip from Fox News. We got to keep it moving.
I do want to get back to the latest here on the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk as we continue to learn new details here. Brooke Singman over at Fox Digital posting this a short time ago saying, exclusive, Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson lived with his transgender partner, according to sources. The individual, who is a male transitioning to a female, is fully cooperating with the FBI. Sources tell me the FBI had texts and other communications between Robinson and the individual that helped FBI authorities solidify that Robinson was indeed the shooter. Again, Robinson has been named the suspect and is in custody. The last question Charlie Kirk answered before he was murdered was, quote, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years? Charlie replied, quote, too many. He was then asked, quote, do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Charlie replied, quote, counting or not counting gang violence. Charlie was then assassinated. Again, those details there coming from Brooke Singman over at. Learn more about what to expect in the coming days. The Utah County District Attorney now saying that 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, seen in these mugshots here, will be formally charged with Kirk's murder Tuesday ahead of his initial court appearance. And it also seems that Attorney General Pam Bondi and the DOJ are weighing the idea of federal charges in that case. As for how Robinson was identified as the suspect, the FBI says his father recognized him in surveillance photos that were released Thursday, as investigators did look for a person of interest. Those are the photos there on your screen.
So, again, we have seen this stuff. We've heard the story about the dad talking with the dad and all that stuff, right? We've seen all that. And again, this is somebody who did what he did. Now, I know there's a lot of naysayers out there that think that he didn't do it and that he's the scapegoat and all that. No, he's the guy who did this. Okay? That he did this ish. Okay? Real talk. Genobi, one more time. That's my man. That's what happened. Okay? That's what happened. He's like, finally, we can be out together. You know? Don't hide from your feelings. It's just weird, but again, wild stuff that we're looking at, okay? Bluebird, thank you so much. Facts 100, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Hector, I'm just going to grab some of these super chats here really quick. There's nothing wrong with being centered. My point is that to the left, if you don't agree 100%, then you are an enemy now. It's also not the White House censoring the right. Yeah, I think, okay, real quick, I honestly think that it's both. I hate to say it like that. I hate to say it's both sides, but I really do think that it's both sides that are just intolerable of each other. And if you are left and you disagree with the right, they get very frustrated, right? Because it's almost like it's almost like each side is trying to convert you. It's like, come over here, come on back over here to the good side of the force. You know what I'm saying? When both sides can be very, very, very dark. And I see it on both. I see it with both. Okay? I see it on both. Just truly. I've seen it and I'm like, wow, okay, those are your thoughts on gay rights. And then it's like, you hear the other person say their thoughts on it. And it's like, then the person who is pro gay rights, let's just say, they're like, I can't even talk to you anymore. No, I can't even talk. And it's like, whoa, I thought this was a civil conversation. And then I've seen it on the other side too, where it's like, they're talking about something that maybe Trump did or, whatever, big, beautiful bill or something. And the left is not agreeing. The person who's on the left is not agreeing with it. And it's suddenly like, it's belittling, it's talking down. It's, you know what I mean? I see that same approach on both sides. Oh my God, you're such an idiot for actually, thinking against what Trump is doing. What he's doing is great. And then we see it on the other side too, right? Can't believe you can't see that Trump is evil, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And it just turns into this thing. You feel me? So again, I see it on both. I see both sides. I see what's going on here. It's bad, period, point blank. There needs to be a better way to talk to each other as human beings. Real quick, because we're moving on here. L. Horton, thank you so much. This is why I love your channel. Oh, thank you so much. You don't, as left, I guess you don't go left or right down our throats. We should all decide with our own brains. Yes. Yes. See, yes. See, that brain waves are kicking. See, that's what I like. That's what I like. See what I'm saying? And see, this is what's frustrating, because I'll bring somebody who's left leaning on the show, and then all of a sudden people go, oh, you're left. Oh, you're left. Or I'll bring somebody right on the show, and then they'll go, how dare you? And it's like, I can't please anybody, but I'm just trying to have conversations with people that are right and left. You know what I mean? And I don't have many people on the show very often, but when I do, I try to keep it interesting, right? So again, it's just very interesting. Hollis, thank you so much. You know your heart, and it's huge. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Again, Hollis, I'll pull this up here too. I saw you at CrimeCon. Yeah, it was a great time. It was always great seeing you there. And it was joyous, and you were nothing but real. Always real. Thank you. Thank you. That can be a good thing and a bad thing all at the same time, right? But I do appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Jacqueline, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Wanda, you're not a follower. You're a leader. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And like I said, it may be a lonely experience for me because I'm not just going with the crowd, right? I might go, nah, I'm going off this path. Everyone's going that way. And I'm like, no, I'm going over here, you know? And it's just is how I operate. It's just me, you know? Allison, thank you so much for the love. Amen. Amen indeed. Amen. I'm just going to grab a few more of these here real quick, guys, and I'll come back to them. I'll circle back here in a second because we need to keep moving here. Happy days. Thank you so much for the love. It's not 1787 anymore. We can't take in all of your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. We can't even take care of ourselves. We can't even take care of ourselves, can we? Yeah, you know, we are still huddled masses. We are still huddled masses, still yearning to breathe right now as we speak. We tired and we all poor. Come on now. Okay, can I get an amen on that one? We all tired, we all poor, and we are still huddled masses, still trying to figure out how to get through life on this big, hurling, spinning blue marble that we all sit on, okay? And we're all trying to just live our lives, trying to be happy. That is it, right? We still all jacked up. We jacked up. More than I think of the likes that we've ever seen before. That was very Trumpian of me, okay? Of the likes you've ever seen, like that. Okay. Anyway, Deanna, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. That's why I'm here. I love this channel. Thank you so much. When we get to heaven, God isn't going to ask us what our political parties are or ideologies. We all need to be good humans, kind to one another, no matter what you believe in. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Beautifully freaking said. Thank you. Beautifully said. Lena, thank you so much for love. No, he lived with parents and was a Mormon groiper. Now, here's the thing. He lived with a roommate, Lena. He lived with a roommate. They even said that. In fact, he was invited to lunch to his parents' house. And that's when his parents confronted him about the photos that we've all seen, that the surveillance photos of him walking around. Okay? I don't think he's a groiper. I don't think he's a groiper anymore. And I dove deep into that last night. Oh my word. I learned so much and I didn't want to learn any of that. I really didn't, but I learned it and I'm like, wow. Nick Fuentes. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Right? But again, he had roommates. He lived with them. And yeah, there you have it. Okay. Hollis, thank you so much. Let's see. He also was in an Antifa Discord. I'm glad you mentioned that. This is the perfect segue. Okay. Because there's something else that just happened. And I think it's very interesting. I saw this on TMZ this morning, an article on TMZ. And I thought this was a very intriguing. Okay. And like I said, what they're reporting right now about him being in a relationship with his roommate, last name Twiggs, okay, and that particular person being trans, I mean, obviously, it's shocking information. We're still trying to find out whether or not that is 110% true, okay? They're saying that they got that from a law enforcement source. But again, like I said, the actual roommate / Lavelle is actually having conversations with police. We heard that and it was confirmed at the press conference. The roommate was saying, hey, yeah, he's been talking to people on Discord. He's been doing this, that, and the third. There's been text messages of how he can go and get his weapon, a retrieval point to get his weapon and all that stuff. He was text messaging somebody. Who could that be? But now we got something else that's coming from TMZ, which is really interesting. Discord themselves are saying the platform was not used by this particular suspect at all. So we heard that at the press conference. They said he was using chatting apps. One of them happened to be Discord. They say he didn't use it. I wonder if Discord is just trying really hard not to be connected to this tragedy, or if investigation has some things a little bit off. Yeah, that's why I want to know, Ghoul. Who's lying? Who's lying if that's the case? Ish covering. Yeah, Tyler. Hackner. Not him. He's locked up. Okay. Hackner. My boy Hackner. Okay. Hackner. Okay, let's not get it twisted. Everybody be like, he's in the chat? How's he? No. Okay. But moving on, he'd be commenting like, ooh, or something crazy like that. That swashbuckling scallywag. Moving on. They're saying Discord is saying, nope, we had nothing to do with this, baby. So Discord said that they were not used by Tyler Robinson to either plan the unaliving of CK or to hide the evidence, TMZ has learned. So a Discord spokesperson tells TMZ, in the course of our investigation, we identified a Discord account associated with the suspect, but have found no evidence that the suspect planned this incident or promoted violence on Discord. Yeah, they snitched on themselves. They're like, no, we trying to make money. No, we didn't do a damn thing. We ain't trying to lose our jobs and trying to lose our business. So they jumped on this real quick. I wonder if they're telling the truth. The statement goes on saying this: the messages referenced in recent reportings about planning details do not appear to be Discord messages. These were communications between the suspect's roommate and a friend after this tragedy, where the roommate was recounting the contents of a note the suspect had left elsewhere. So maybe he wrote a letter because if he was like, if I don't come back, you know what I mean? If you're reading this, I'm gone. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what it was. Authorities say Robinson's roommate showed them Robinson had made a quote-unquote joke on Discord and then showed investigators the messages, which included Tyler stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. Discord seems to be saying these communications were not on its platform, rather on a note that Robinson had written off the site to his roommate. By the way, Discord says it has removed Robinson's account. Oh, thank God. Oh, I was worried that they were going to keep it up there. I was very concerned about that. Hamburger. I'm not concerned. He ain't using it ever again. Okay? Even if it was up there, not removed. Okay? Utah authorities have said that as of this point, they believe Robinson acted alone, but the investigation is still ongoing. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Something about this makes me feel some type of way. I don't think he operated alone, guys. I'm telling you what. Yeah, they removed his account. Like, it's already done. You know what I mean? Why would they remove his account? Let the FBI look through the stuff. Let them do their, digital hoodoo voodoo and deep dive into that, because there might be connections to other things. So that's weird that they deleted that. That's a little too soon, bro. You feel me? A little too soon. But we'll see. But they're saying, hey, our name is Bennett and we ain't in it. Real talk. You better look over that way. Don't look at me. Right? But he talked to other people, so I'm wanting to know, who was he talking about? Or who is he talking to? I truly still think that he did not operate alone. I think he operated with other people. Here's the other thing too. What about Twigs? What about Twigs and them? What about Twigs? He was in a relationship with Twigs. What happened then? What about Twigs? Think about it. What about Twigs? He's having conversations with him. He was texting him after the fact. He was texting Twigs, letting him know what he did. Twigs didn't have any clue that he did what he did. Didn't help him plan it out. Again, like I said, it just doesn't make any sense that he walked over to that building and knew to go on top of that building and get a clean shot right towards the tent. Knowing any other person's luck, if they didn't do any recon work or get any inside sources on where the setup was going to be and how the setup was going to be for the event, he would have been on the other side of another building, pointed in the wrong direction, and the whole tent would have been covering CK's face. You see what I'm saying? So it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make sense. He operated for real though. He operated alone for real though. I don't know about all that. One other thing, Candace Owens. Yes, we're talking about Candace Owens. Okay. Yeah, we're talking about Candace Owens. Okay. Yeah, digital bookmark. I mean, come on now. We've covered enough of these kinds of tragedies, which is insane for me to say out loud. Okay. Can't even believe I'm saying those words, those forms out of my mouth. But think about this. Okay. Think about this for a second. We've seen enough of these situations happen that if you think outside the box just for 2 seconds, you'll realize that there's certain elements that you have to keep in mind if you're going to go and do something like this. He just walked up and he got lucky. He walked up and climbed up to the rooftop. How did he get to the rooftop? Did he scale on the side of the building? No one saw him do that. Did he walk through the building, go up the fire escape? You know what I mean? Or something, like go through the fire or, the stairwell. You see what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense that he would be operating all of this all by himself. You mean to tell me his partner didn't help him with this situation? Get him to talk to the right people? Let them know how the setup is going to be? He didn't do any recon work? He didn't get there a day before? He just pulled up as soon as he left the house? He drove 3 some odd hours on the highway, pulled up to the university, got the rifle, got the clothes, went over to the building right near where the event was going to be, and he just set everything up, and it was a perfect, clean shot? Come on, guys. It just doesn't make sense. Just one big lucky situation for him? I don't like that. That does not rest well on my soul. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't rest well on my soul at all, guys. Real talk. Sorry, not sorry. I don't like that. Something ain't right. And maybe Twigs has something to do with it. I have no idea. I can't answer that. But I really, truly do not think that this man operated all willy-nilly by his damn self. One thing is for sure, though. This guy was very, very used to being around weapons. He knew how to pull that trigger. So we'll see what happens. Yes, computers have been confiscated and all that. We'll see what happens for sure. But Candace Owens also put this out, and I thought this was interesting. You got to remember, Candace Owens is literally like a Rottweiler, right? She's like a shark. That's a better thing. When she smells blood, she goes after it. And she will latch on and she will not let go. Look at what's going on with her and the Macrons, right? She's a man, baby. You know, that whole thing, right? Still interesting about what's going on with that. That's another conversation in itself. But you know for a fact that Charlie Kirk was one of her good friends. And we saw a little bit of the video of her talking about Charlie Kirk. And she doesn't seem like the type who gets emotional like that. And she got emotional. So if you got her crying, you know for a fact she ain't going to let go. She is not going to let go. So here it is. Charlie Kirk was fighting with some very powerful billionaires that he took money from over things he was discussing. The pressure on him was immense over the last 2 weeks. The truth will be revealed. The messages will be leaked. And the movement he built will rise up. And we already heard about what his wife said in yesterday's statement, which, of course, was very powerful and tough to listen to. But one thing she did say is that we are going to see Turning Point USA in the likes you've never seen before. I know, very Trumpian, but yes, of the likes we've never seen before. So again, I'm not surprised seeing this, but I think it's also interesting that she's looking into some things, and I don't know if she's flying off the handle. I don't know if this is a tinfoil hat kind of situation or if there's something else going on, right? Or if she's absolutely 110% right. But you know for a fact she's going to be deep diving and doing what she do because she does not stop. You know that. We all know that. And, you know, I've always said a broken clock can be right 2 times a day, and she definitely is one of those broken clocks, at least in my personal opinion. Moving on, though, we have got to get into... Hold on. Now, there is an interview that happened, and we're only going to watch a little bit of this, okay? Because this is from another channel, and it's a really good channel. He does some really good interviews, okay? Channel 5, it's literally called Channel 5 with Andrew Collingham, or Collingham? Yeah, Collingham. Or Colligan. I think it's Colligan. Pardon me. Sorry about that. But anyway, he does these interviews. He's had a whole bunch of interviews, okay? But one of them that he did was with the guy who I at first thought was connected to this whole thing. And this guy has been out here, y'all. Okay? The guy who had the question, who asked the question about trans assailants at mass tragedies. And then instantly CK got hit, right? I thought, and I think everybody did, because it seems so perfect in the worst, most morbid way that it happened at that moment, right? When in actuality, it sounds like there's somebody that was listening to the conversation and was waiting for a moment for somebody to bring up trans rights or something trans-centric. So they took this opportunity right then and there, right? And they pulled the trigger. Now, this guy right here, his name is Hunter. He was the one who was on the microphone asking CK about trans assailants in mass tragedies seconds before CK lost his life. He said a lot in this interview. We're only going to watch a little bit of this, but I do want us to see it because I think he deserves an opportunity to say his piece. And it sounds to me like he had nothing to do with this. But again, it's wild that he was there. And then you had George Zinn, who was also just knucking futs. Then you had people doing signals and doing all this random stuff. Okay. Then you had another guy with the pellet rifle down the street. Old dude with the pellet rifle. Okay. All of this is just so strange that it would just all be a coincidence. I think with Hunter, it is truly a coincidence. But those other two, I'm side-eyeing like a mother lover right now. And until I hear otherwise from 5-0, I'm still side-eyeing that situation. Okay, but let's take a listen to this. This is from Channel 5. We're only going to play a little bit of this, so let's rock and roll.
So my name is Hunter. I was in the middle of debating Charlie Kirk in the middle of the assassination at Utah Valley University.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
What brought you to the event that day?
I make videos on Charlie Kirk, and I made this video about the statistical analysis on trans shooters. And sort of the point that I was trying to make was that it's sort of a statistical outlier, that they're extremely underrepresented when it comes to how peaceful they are. Obviously, that question, pretty ironic given when it was given. So I mostly came in there because Charlie's very open about having some sort of dialogue or some sort of conversation that he believes in engaging, and I'm pretty on the record of how much I disagree with him, but I do definitely respect how much he's willing to platform voices to ensure that at least some semblance of a good conversation can come out of it.
I mean, okay, I'm going to be real. I don't think it's a semblance, okay? I don't think it's a semblance of a good conversation, but one thing he does do is bring these people up and have these arguments or these debates with these people. And I am kind of curious if he's ever, because it's not like this is something that I don't watch his stuff every day. I'm going to be real. I don't wake up, or back in the day when he was around, it's not like I was sitting there going, "Ooh, what's Charlie Kirk doing today?" You know what I mean? I wasn't doing that, with all due respect. So I am curious if he ever had a video where he was wrong, where he admitted, "Oh, good point. You got me there." I'm just curious, because the ones that I've always seen are the ones where he'll bring in somebody who's hardcore left, and then he'll make them look like Boo Boo the Fool, right? He spouts out his facts, his points, you know what I mean? But when was the last time? I'm being real, because that would really show something. And here's the thing: I urge the Steven Crowders, the Ben Shapiros, all of them to do that, right? Just showing it. But like I said, I've never seen him do that. I've seen all these other videos, and of course they're all the big viral videos, right? Where he's saying his stuff and he's clearly winning, and that particular person's just crumbling, right? So again, like I said, I've yet to see one where this is not a dig, this is not a mean poke. I'm just saying I would love to see one, because these guys, it's like the prove me wrongs, change my mind, you know what I mean, type segments that they have on their shows, and they'll go on college tours and everything. I am kind of curious if they've ever, on these other platforms, I highly recommend that they do. Okay, I'm not saying that they should just lose one just for the sake of showing that that they can be wrong sometimes, or that they lose some debates sometimes. But I am actually curious to see that. You know what I mean? But that is what it is, right? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? So I'm just curious about that. This is what he does. This is what he does, what he did for a living, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting. Just a thought,
Mm-hmm. And as far as these statistical anomaly thing when it comes to trans shooters, is that in response to the way that him and Turning Point were framing that as a big issue?
So it was about 3 weeks ago. There was a trans shooter at a Catholic church. Charlie made a bunch of tweets basically saying, when are we going to start noticing that this is a trend? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting my math degree at UVU. That was my university. And I was like, there's an answer to that. There's, we can determine if there's some sort of outliers. We can use p-values, things like that. And I was like, according to the data, it really doesn't pan out that there is a trend here at all. So I kind of made a video calling him out a little bit and saying, hey, I want to come debate you. I want to come do it. And a lot of people were kind of encouraging me. So I kind of wanted to come and have my, I guess my little audience see that.
Mm-hmm. How was the energy whenever you arrived to the event?
Very conservative, for sure. Everyone was very energetic, chanting Trump, chanting USA.
Get comfortable. Bring the best libs that Utah has to offer.
There was a line of liberals on the rooftop who were holding pride flags and I think some Palestine flags and things like that. And, there was a little bit of taunting back and forth, but not very out of hand. Most of the debaters were either asking questions like, who's better, LeBron or Jordan, or some like theological debates about distinctions between like Mormonism and Christians.
That Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God over all. Christ is King.
But also,
okay. I mean, Jesus was divine, but he also was human. That's just something, I mean, that's another conversation in itself, okay? But he was also human. Was he not? But, okay, let's move on.
the event lasted, I want to say 20 minutes, maybe. Like, I really didn't get a good finger on the pulse on what an event would really look like, because, I mean, I showed up fairly early. I was the second person to speak there. So, like, you know, the first person was maybe 10 minutes, and I maybe got, like, less than a minute in. So.
Could you give us kind of a recap of how that conversation with Charlie went?
Sure.
Yeah, this is working.
It's terrifying.
Hey, hopefully we're gonna have a little bit more disagreement.
So it was, I came in and I said, hey, there was a shooting that happened maybe a few weeks ago in Minneapolis.
And ever since then, about 3 weeks later, the Trump DOJ said that we should start talking about revoking gun rights for transgender Americans.
Do you think, is that, you agree with this? Is that a fair assessment or something like that? And he said, yes. And then I said,
so do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
So again, right here, this moment, this was an opportunity for the guy to get all ready, right? Bang. You know what I mean? Lay down. Okay, perfect. Here's the guy asking the question that I need him to ask. Right? Because you knew for a fact that that was going to be a question at some point. Right? That was going to be a question at some point. And then?
Too many.
And I said, there's 5. And I said, do you know how many shootings there have been? I think maybe my memory's a little hazy. I haven't rewatched the videos, honestly. But it was something like this, which I knew the answer was, it was a little under 6,000. He said something like, we need to account for gang violence. And I think I was like, I said, I was in the middle of saying, great, did you run a statistical analysis on that? Right? Like essentially saying you have the burden of proof. And I think I was in the middle of saying that when he got shot.
Do you know how many men?
I'm going to skip ahead this. Sorry, guys. We can't just keep watching that moment over and over again.
Down pretty immediately, and everyone near me, everyone in the rest of my line, who I'd been talking to for the last like
we're going to talk about that guy too here in a second too, which is just ridiculous.
Few hours, dropped down with me. I remember, I have a brother who was in a school shooting, and I was talking about the distinction between these. That, like, for me, it was there wasn't as much fear as I think I would expect, because I recognized immediately, like, I think I was a lot more logical than I thought I would be in that moment, where I was like, that's an assassination. He is the target. He is the only target. I am freaked out, but I know that I'm okay. Whatever. It definitely became chaotic. My wife was in the crowd. I tried reaching her. It took me like 20, 30 minutes. Just a lot of chaos as like, I sort of shifted in a weird place. And then I had to wrap back around, and I couldn't find her, and our phones weren't really working. And it was bombarded by texts, and I don't know. So it was very chaotic, and it took a while to really orient myself. But it was a strange environment, because people were kind of milling around afterward. I think a lot of people had this similar idea that it's like, this is different. An assassination is very different from a mass shooting, where a mass shooting, you disperse, right? Everyone's a target. But when it comes to an assassination, it's everyone just sort of was there. And I heard a number of people say, like, so much for the tolerant left, right? Like, the 2 or 3 people said that as they walked by.
And what do you think about that assessment?
I made this video a little while ago. I've been following sounds crazy. I've been following Charlie Kirk for a little while. I went to Tampa, Florida for one of his events. I remember I was just basically interviewing some of these some of his followers, and I found this girl, and she's.
I want to point this out really quick. I'm sorry for going and yeah, they were stealing hats, bruh. They were stealing hats, y'all. Like that's a certain level of low I've never seen in my whole entire life. Okay. Yeah, he's got a wife. He's got a kid too. You see the little toys in the background. Look off to the right of the screen right there. The far right of the screen, little bouncy thingy. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, Amy, I'm thinking about bringing the calls back. We may be bringing them back in the future. Okay. Maybe there'll be a show tomorrow, and I might do a call show. We'll see. We'll talk about it. We'll think about it. Okay. This story, this case is just so volatile. This one's a tough one. So I got to figure a few things out before I do that. Okay. Yeah, the calls are iffy. Yeah, I know, Tyler. I don't have to, but I'm thinking about it because I miss it. I miss hearing you guys. I miss hearing your voices and all that too. And not every day do we have a show like or a situation like this where we can actually have a conversation, right? But again, as you can see right here, what I think is interesting is that even though he disagrees with this guy, with CK, he still showed up. He would go to his other events just to hear his thoughts. I think that's very interesting, right? Even though he adamantly disagrees with this guy. Even though he adamantly disagrees with CK, he still shows up to his stuff. I think he's a content creator too, okay? I think he's a content creator as well. And I think that's the reason why he goes and he goes to these events to interview other people, that kind of thing, And I think all this stuff is in his wheelhouse as far as politics and all that, just so you know.
Seems so young and bright, ignorant for sure. Dumb, I would probably say. I'll be honest, dumb. But I was just asking her questions, and I started bringing up, I'm like, oh, liberals would say, and then I would give my argument, right?
Someone can go get a whole surgery done, without parent approval. It's like, how is that even happening? How are they going to the doctor's appointments without the parents there?
And then I know I've seen parents on social media where they're like, oh, I haven't identified my kid yet. And it scares me because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to grow up thinking that they don't know what they are, or that they could transition into something else. And
but wouldn't that be transitioning with parent approval?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, to take away. Does that make sense?
But if they have parent approval, it sounds like you're talking about parents who give approval that they should be trans.
She was like, that's such an interesting thing. I've never thought of that. Right. She gave, and I was like, I'm so
I called it content creator. Okay. Content creator. Okay. But you see, he might be more right leaning. I don't know, but he was wearing a 47 hat, the gold and white 47 hat. So maybe, I don't know, or maybe he was just hiding in plain sight. You see what I'm saying? Wearing the MAGA clothing to come across like, hey, I'm not against you. Come here. Let's do some content. Let's have a conversation. You see what I'm saying? But at least he's having these conversations and just trying to have conversations with people that he may not instantly agree with. But at least he's being civil to a certain extent, right?
I was like, cut. That's so perfect. I'm so glad I captured that the conservative person was so clearly just kind of needed to hear the right thing and maybe got bumped in the right direction. And I posted it feeling so confident, and 90% of the comments were about how fat she was. And I really felt like what am I contributing to in this culture? And in some ways I'm extremely proud of the left. I'm extremely proud of the people that I've met, organizing and being in these conversations. And I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. And I would also say that the right definitely has its issue with violence, right? We talk about political violence, Gretchen Whitmer, Josh Shapiro, Paul Pelosi, I could go on and on. But I am startled very often by how quick people are to grab onto like righteous violence. And I don't know. I understand his assessment when he says so much for the tolerant left. Like that's kind of in some ways a lot of things that I've seen.
Was there something you saw in particular that you were like, man, that's too far?
Yeah. About Charlie, or I mean, yeah, I saw someone post like, proud to be a UVU alum today. And like,
yeah, it's bad.
It's also people in my hallways, right, who are just maybe a little bit terminally online. But like, I don't know. I for sure seen some, why am I going to be sad? I'm glad he's in the grave. A lot of comments like that.
Nah, real
I mean, it's bad.
shit though. How do we?
Okay. Now, what? I'm sorry. I have never seen this clip before. How do we know CK didn't what? From a Fenty? What? Who put this out? Why would you put that crap out? What? No, we got to see that. That's a level of.
You know that Charlie Kirk didn't die of a fentanyl overdose. You feel me? Like, we got to wait on the toxicology reports come out. Because, okay, we might have saw a gunshot and shit, but we also saw somebody put their knee on somebody else's neck. And we.
Okay, I'm not even. Is that can that be a joke? Is that a joke? Please, God, let that be a joke. Oh my God. Okay. That was real? Okay. Wow. But like I said, people are just crazy, man. People are crazy. And welcome to the world that we live in. Oh, dear God. And somebody probably consumed that, watched that, and actually believed it. You see what I'm saying? Somebody probably watched that and it goes, yes, that was a Fenty. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Hold on one second, guys. I'm just checking something here real quick. Wait. Let's see. Hold on, guys. Okay, sorry. I was just checking something, guys. Sorry about that. Sorry. Apologies. Yes. So again, I don't think I did show who Twigs was, but I'll show you Twigs again right quick. This is Twigs in all of their glory, okay? That's my man, okay? Just so there you go. Holy crap. Whoa. Wow. Have mercy. Let me get this here real quick. But that is Twigs, just so you guys know. Zach, wow, thank you so much. Holy crap. Okay. Okay, so thank you so much for the super chat. Have mercy. Thank you. Thank you. Now, here's the thing. It's really strange that the questioner would be following Charlie and attending events as a liberal. His redemption interview after the situation was scripted. He doesn't seem shaken or remorseful. The timing of the question was an unlikely coincidence. He doesn't seem remorseful. The timing of the question was an unlikely coincidence. Now, here's the thing. I appreciate you saying this because I am still side-eyeing the situation. I think it is very odd. I know he went on to social media later on, even before this interview, and said like, yo, I swear to God, I came up. I did not know that this was going to be on. I didn't know that this was going to happen. I was just asking a question and then bang, this happened. Okay. Here it is. Here's the other thing I'm going to point out. If police aren't looking into this guy at all, that is interesting. But then it also tells you something too. I think this is a guy who's a content creator and a student and all that, okay? Let me just say that first. But I also think that he's somebody that was asking a very odd question at a very, very, very convenient time. Well, no, not an odd question, because obviously eventually he was going to have that question asked to him. Something about trans rights, I'm sure, at some point, right? There's going to be somebody coming up talking about, DEI, black and brown rights and all that stuff as well at some point, if he was able to get to that point. But they didn't get to that point, right? They talked about religion, then they talked about other things, you know what I mean? Some small things like LeBron or Jordan type thing, and then they went into the trans conversation. Now, when it comes to this, it's almost like it was inevitable that it was going to happen, right? Like that question was going to be asked of some variation of trans rights or trans something was going to be asked by somebody. It just happened to be this guy Hunter. But like I said, if police have interrogated this guy, which I hope to God that they did, and they didn't see anything weird or strangely coincidental, then there's that's what it is. And don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here saying that that's enough. I think it needs to be I think he needs to be interrogated even more. I really do. I think he needs to be interrogated and asked more questions, because that situation was so odd. Like I said, the George Zinn guy, the guy with the weapon down the street with the pellet rifle down the street, all of them should be asked questions. They should be brought in for questioning and they better start asking questions fast, because there's too many coincidences that happen all at the same time. Like I said, he asked that question at the most opportune time, and then next thing you know, dude's gone. That's so weird, y'all. So weird. So again, just strange. But I really do appreciate the super chat. And I get it. I understand where you're coming from, right? I think all of us are wondering what is up with this, right? Because it seems odd. It seems like it seems too on script for it not to be connected, right? Yeah, FBI got their guy. That's all they care. I'm hoping that they look into this more. It just seems exactly, Stephanie. It just seems so unbelievably convenient, and it just feels weird. And then now, of course, I understand the guy's going up and doing all these interviews, or at least the interview with Channel 5. I get it. I'd do the same thing if everyone was thinking I was connected to the unaliving of the likes of CK. Oh my dear God. I'd do it. Oh my Lord. I'd be on something fast. Get me on there fast. Wait a second. I have nothing to do with this. This was so out of nowhere. I didn't know this was going to happen. You know what I mean? But it all depends. It all comes down to if we want to believe it or not, right? Unfortunately, that's where we're at. It all comes down to if we want to believe it or not. Now, there is something else. I'm going to grab some of these super chats because there's a gang of them. And so, Scott, thank you so much for that super chat. Really, thank you so much. But you are bringing up a very strong and solid argument here, and I think you're not. And I believe you're not the only one in the chat. Even myself, there's still a part of me that's like, nah, that it still doesn't feel right, yo. It still doesn't feel right. It still doesn't, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what law enforcement do, if they're actually doing anything more. I hope that they are, because I think that there's more to this than what we've seen. Lena, thank you so much. The gun quotes are, yep, transphobic, y'all. Yep. They are definitely interesting for sure. Steph, I'm not going anywhere. Thank you so much. Much love to you too. Thank you. Love you too. Dab. Thank you. Roddy Mom, thank you so much. Pascal, I always turn on to your show for the facts. Just keep speaking the facts. Love your channel. My nickname is for you, the Shaqnormous creator, because you you got to be like 6 or 7 feet tall like Shaq. Well, I mean, I'm not 7 feet tall, but I am tall. I am definitely tall. Holly, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome. I think it's welcome back. But just like Holly, please consider becoming a member by hitting that join button down below, please, and thank you. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Happy days. Thank you so much. Don't teach your kids to good shots because when they lose their mind. Oh, I think you're saying don't teach the kids how to shoot because when they lose their minds. This is what happens. A human mind does not fully develop until you are 25 years old. You're absolutely right. I mean, I think that there's certain situations where you do need to learn how to operate a pew-pew, okay? When it has to do with livelihood, okay? If you are somebody who lives out in the sticks and you need to learn how to hunt, okay, properly, I think that's important. But also, I don't think that these weapons should be strewn about the house just easily accessible, okay? Ethan Crumbly, okay? We don't need that. We really don't. And there's some parents that just glorify weapons all day long, right? So again, and literally it's hanging on their walls. It's sitting on the end table next in the living room, on the couch next to the remote. It's insane what people have, right? And how they treat their weapons. These things should be locked away, safe and sound, away from the harms of, in the hands and the reach of our loved ones, period, point blank. I don't care if your kid is completely healthy, happy, the most popular person in school. Bad things do happen and people do really, really unthinkable things, especially when they have that kind of stuff right at their fingertips. Just saying that out loud. Moving on. Cut. Thank you so much. So Twigs pulled Tyler's trigger and bam, he fell in love with Twig. Oh my God. Yeah, it looks like that. That's my man. So apparently that's what went down. Janobi, thank you so much. Oh, I already did that. Already for you. Patrick, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Child sacrifice is holy to anyone who worships Abrahamic religions. If you think a God that demands child sacrifice is worth worshiping, you are fried. Wow, that is a statement. That is definitely a statement. Janobi, thank you so much. Remember the video of the guy walking with a limp? So was that him? Yes, that was definitely him. They are alleging that was him with the weapon in his pant leg as he was walking towards the event. And then when the event was over, he was booking it later on. We saw the video, yes. So apparently he put that in his pant leg to try to hide it, which is interesting. Maymag, thank you so much for love. It's crazy they are pew-pewing down those channels because can't control the speech like they are doing on TV channels. Really dangerous. Isn't that though? Let me tell you something. It all started with Stephen Colbert. Yep, I said it. Keep that in mind. It all started with Stephen Colbert. All right? Stephen Colbert. Remember that. Janobi, thank you so much. Hey! Thank you so much for gifting 5 new memberships. Welcome to the family, all 5 of you guys. Please do me a favor. Pay it forward, okay? Open the door for somebody, do something nice for somebody, etc. Okay? We need a lot more positivity in the world, so please spread that positivity if you can. Thank you, Janobi. Maymag, that's the problem we are having now. When we speak, when you speak out our minds, someone stupid puts a label, either political or religious, so short-minded. Yes, that is an absolute 110% big ass problem. Instantly, we got to label everything. Okay, we ain't in a relationship, so why we got to label things? Okay, are we together? Are we boyfriend and girlfriend? But I just want everybody to know. It's crazy how everybody has to, it's got to be a label, right? It's got to be Pepsi. It's got to be Coke. It's got to be Sprite. It's got to be 7-Up. It's got to be Papa John's. It's got to be Domino's, right? You got to be conservative. You got to be liberal. You can't be in between, right? It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. You can't just be an individual. Sad. Moving on, happy days. Who taught him to be a snipe? His dad. Yeah. This kid grew up with weapons around his life, all of his life. There are so many photos on Facebook. You go to my Facebook page, there's all kinds of photos of this kid, you know, holding weapons, etc. I mean, getting gifts of rifles and stuff like that. I mean, this kid was around weapons all of his life. And he became a decent shot, it looks like, or sounds like. But I don't think he was aiming for his neck, y'all. I think he was aiming for the dome. That's what I truly think. Let's be real. Let's check out what schools he went to, who taught him to actually pull the trigger. His daddy or his accomplice. More gun violence. Yeah, it's his dad. And see, that's the thing. What's really sad about this is that we're not hearing anybody talking about gun control. Right now, everybody's too busy trying to point the finger. Everyone's trying to point the finger back over at the aisle, on the other side of the aisle, instead of going, hey, we really need to talk about the control on our weapons. It'd be nice if they actually did that. But that's just me, right? Janobi, thank you so much for the love. Pascal, is it true there is footage, Bang Bang guy was on the phone right when that was being asked? Right when what was being asked? I'm curious about what you mean by that. Is it true there's footage, Bang Bang guy was on the phone right when that was being asked? I think there's allegedly footage of him talking on the phone with somebody, or they think that that could be another accomplice to this whole thing. But yeah, that I have not gotten confirmed yet. Valley Gal, thank you so much for the love. They will use his demise as a victim of left-wing extremism. Yes, they will, to demand more surveillance, more police, etc. The media now has endless content. The media has been having endless content. Okay, let me just be real, and I'm saying this with all due respect because it is true. You know, Biden, not so much content, right? Trump, lots of content. There's all kinds of content. Okay, like I said, CNN finally has something to talk about again because Trump is in office. The late night shows finally have something to talk about because Trump is back in office. The Daily Show finally has something interesting to talk about because Trump is back in office. Those are very, very true. Now, what's going to happen is that, yes, they are already calling CK a martyr. Now, it doesn't matter if you agree with him being called that or not. This is what they're calling him. So you know for a fact this is going to turn into, wait for t-shirts, wait for t-shirts, wait for banners, wait for photos, wait for flyers. It's all coming out. Literally, his face and his likeness will now turn as a part of the MAGA brand. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that because that's going to be a fact. As soon as they said he is a martyr, that name and that title was stamped on his forehead, and now forever he will be named and worded and be called a martyr. And like I said, whether you like that or not, that's what's going to happen. And then it's going to incentivize somebody on the right, for sure. Now, I don't mean incentivize somebody on the right like it's not going to incentivize somebody on the left. It could definitely incentivize people on the left too. But what I mean is it's going to incentivize them to stand even stronger in their beliefs, stronger in where they're standing, because now they have their martyr on their side. Just saying. Yeah, this turned him into a martyr. He is definitely a martyr now. And they will brand him because that's what they're good at. That's what Trump is very good at. He's good at the branding. He puts a word out there. He says one word. It's a key word, and then everyone else that is a hardcore follower of him, okay, with all due respect, they take that word and they keep going with it. So as soon as he went and did his statement, he called him a martyr. Boom, forever now, he has been knighted a martyr. So now you hear the likes of Ben Shapiro, Benny Johnson, and others, right, saying the same thing. And if he was set to be like a presidential candidate, that would have been interesting. So, of course, that's terrible that he was on the trajectory for something that he's not going to be able to take anymore. That's terrible. Okay? That's terrible. But I see that there's going to be something like I said, just wait for it. It hasn't fully happened yet because like it's happened. He just lost his life, right? But soon enough there will be, you know what I mean? Slowly but surely. Remember, she even said in her statement, you will see not only just Turning Point USA, but him as well in the likes you've never seen before. This is not going to stop Charlie Kirk. Kirk's legacy is going to live on, even bigger than before. And again, this is going to awaken a lot of people that were maybe hiding in their own respective figurative closet. And I don't mean like, yeah, it's coming out. I mean like them being like, okay, I am not afraid to step forward and be proud of being a MAGA supporter or proud of being believing in America first and all that. This is going to bring more people in the forefront. And hopefully it's for a positive result rather than negative, but that hasn't happened yet, right? Give it time. We haven't seen that yet, but I'm hoping that the image of him is not used in vain, right? I hope not, but we'll see. We'll see how everything transpires, right? And I also think that we're going to see a lot more of Erica. I think that's what I'm sensing. I think Erica is going to be taking over a lot. We're going to see her steering the ship and taking over the Charlie Kirk brand. She's going to take over his spot. The king's throne will be taken over by his queen. That's what I truly think. And like I said, that's not a bad thing. I'm not throwing any shade. Okay. No shade whatsoever. I'm just stating what I think is going to happen next. And she's going to be the new face of Turning Point USA. It's going to be interesting. Hollis, thank you so much. Weirder, the old man. Why is he at 9/11? Yep. The marathon booming. Yep. And then there. Exactly. That's what I'd like to know too, dagnabbit. You know what I'm saying? I'd really like to know, why is he out there? Why is he at these mass tragedies or threatening to do a mass tragedy or actually at this situation, right? This particular tragedy. Why? Why is he there? That's what I like to know too. Roddy Mom, thank you so much. To your Rottweiler. To your Rottweiler. Okay? Appreciate you. I love Rottweilers. They're dope. They're dangerous when they need to be, and they're cuddly when they want to be. I love them. So again, let me pull this up and make sure I have this. Do I have it up? Let's see. Wow. Okay, there's a clip. Okay, I'm going to play this. It's Tucker Carlson. Interesting. So there's so many theories going on with Charlie Kirk. Okay? Like what happened before he passed away, before this whole tragedy went down. This says here, okay, that Tucker Carlson said on Megyn Kelly's show that after CK went to the White House to urge President Trump not to strike Iran, he received massive attacks, basically, massive abuse, and intense messages from his donors and made a lot of quote unquote real enemies. Let's take a look at this. I've never seen this. I pulled this up though because I wanted to see it with you guys. Let's take a look at this really quick.
He was one of the only people, I mean, truly one of the only people to go to the president whom he loved. He loved Donald Trump, like personally as well. And I think the president really loved him in a real way. But he was one of the only people to go to the Oval Office and say, sir, I totally understand and think Iran's really bad, but a war with Iran is not, is something that could really hurt our country. I mean, boy, that was an unpopular position. He didn't need to express it. Oh, of course. And he did it again. He didn't have some weird agenda. He wasn't mad at anybody. He was for his country and he was for doing the right and wise and difficult thing. And he said that. He went to the Oval Office to say that. He took massive abuse from his own donors, which is also something that you don't see people. And he loved his donors. It wasn't a hostile thing, but they had a different view. A lot of them, not all, but a lot. And they expressed it to him in a very intense way. I know because he showed me. And he said, look, I understand your perspective. This is my perspective. And we're going to do what we think is the right thing, the wise thing.
In that way.
That's interesting, right? He had some certain opinions about what was going on back then, right? And of course, his own donors were like turning their back on him, right? Felt some type of way about this. This is very interesting.
He was the voice of young people. I mean, there are no young people in the country anymore supporting this war and wanting Israel to continue its bombing campaign. That's just the truth. Look at the polls. And he was in touch with them. And even where his own opinion may have differed from their opinion, he felt like he owed it to them to bring their message to the sitting president of the United States. I mean, it was, that's what's been snuffed out.
Well, as he has been, unfortunately, but he was one of the very few people I have met who combined a love for everyone involved with strong views. So again, he was not animated by anything creepy or weird. I mean, you knew him intimately, so you know this is true. If you talk to him off camera, he would say, I really, I love whoever I'm talking about, but I think this is wrong. It's immoral. It's bad for everybody involved, both sides. And he would say that, and he could say that because it was sincere. It was completely sincere, but I cannot overstate the amount of attacks he took privately over this, absolutely for real. And having lived in Washington most of my life and seen people run nonprofits, I've never met one who was willing. Stand up is too strong. He wasn't confrontational, but he would just say, no, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I think this is the right thing. The people we represent, which is mostly young people, they believe this, and I believe it also. It was brave, but loving at the same time. And I'm not sure he made a lot of headway, by the way. I mean, I think he made real enemies in doing that, but his view didn't change. Anyway.
I mean, again, it's nice to hear a little bit of insight, some behind the scenes about Charlie Kirk and, his influence, right? He was able to go and talk to Trump directly, right? And there was a lot of things that were going on with Iran and Israel that he most definitely was not down for. I mean, he was definitely not down for it, but there was a lot of other people that were not down for as well. The general public was not down for it, period, point blank, right? So it is interesting when you hear him being able to talk to President Trump and be like, hey, man, like, I don't think this is a good idea. And also not be willing to just say what he needs to say so he can continue to secure the bag. He was saying things that were going against what his supporters and his financiers, for lack of a better term, were for. That's very interesting too, right? So again, interesting stuff. We got another thing. I don't know if you guys seen, I talked about it. I briefly talked about this, and I just want to pull this up here real quick so you guys can see this for yourself too. But the CK cheerleader. Do you guys remember the guy? Okay, hold on. I'm just pulling this up so you guys can see this. Let me just mute this because I don't own the rights to that music. But you guys remember? You guys heard? Have you heard about the CK cheerleader? Okay, and no, I'm not saying I found myself a cheerleader. I'm not talking about that person. Okay, I'm talking about this dude right here. Right here, this guy right here. So immediately after CK got hit, this guy stands up and starts cheering. Everyone's dropping down on the floor, screaming, terrified, and this guy right here starts cheering. Have you seen this? This dude right here. The audacity of a human being to do something like this, right? And of course, everybody and their mama was analyzing the F out of this thing and asking questions. Who the F is this guy? And why the hell would he do something like that? Because it's callous as hell. He was rejoicing, at least what it looks like. He was rejoicing when somebody is actually just got murked, real talk, deleted in real time, right in front of thousands of people, by the way. Thousands of people. He stands up and he's cheering. Well, here's the thing. He came out and he's been posting things online because he's freaking out. Understandably, he's freaking out. Why would I say understandably he's freaking out? Because people are pissed. People are mad. And they're coming after him big time. And I don't blame the people going after him. Let's be real. Because he shouldn't have done what he did. He was standing up and rejoicing. But here's the thing. He gives a reason on why he did what he did. You want to hear what he has to say? Let's take a listen. Like to hear it? Here we go.
The event opened with music, people throwing hats, and loud exchanges from different parts of the crowd. Some shouted offensive remarks directed at the LGBT community, while others made disparaging comments about the Prophet of Islam. There were also cheers, boos, and offensive hand gestures, mockery. The atmosphere carried an energy of confrontation more than dialogue. The first debater tried to persuade Charlie to adopt Mormonism, but the exchange drifted into a disjointed back and forth of opinions. The audience eventually booed him off the platform. Another speaker raised the idea of restricting gun rights for transgender individuals. Citing Donald Trump as an influence, he began to reference statistics and posed a question. Charlie's response turned to the subject of gang violence as a part of the mass shooting statistics. At that point, I did not see what happened directly. My head was lowered while I listened. When I heard a sharp crack, at first I thought it might have been fireworks or a disruptive prank, so I looked up to the horizon for smoke. When none appeared, I realized it must have been a firearm. My friend reacted in horror, saying Charlie had been struck. His voice and description told me how serious it was. Based on his reaction, I believed Charlie had been gravely injured. I instinctively checked the security team's movement, though I have no affiliation with them. Realizing the situation was dangerous, I stood and shouted USA, not as a provocation, but to project strength, encourage others, and create a distraction that might help calm panic or even save lives.
You heard what he said there, right? I want to make this abundantly clear. First off, yes, he is reading a script off the side. I get it. I'm sure he's nervous. Okay. But you heard what he said, right? So after triggers pulled, there's chaos. CK is taken off of the from under the tent to try to, and they're trying to administer aid, right? And run him to an SUV to take him to a hospital while he's clinging on to his life for the last few short minutes that he's on this planet. This guy thought it at first, understandably, thought at first it was like a firecracker. But then instantly heard that he had been hit and that there was commotion going on because he had been hit, right? And so he says instinctively, he stood up to be a distraction. Yeah, that's what he said. Hold on, I'm gonna pull that back a little bit because I need all y'all in the nosebleed seats to hear this and let this soak all the way down to your plums.
I stood and shouted USA, not as a provocation, but to project strength, encourage others, and create a distraction that might help calm panic or even save lives.
Now, I understand that he's a veteran. Okay? He'll explain that here in a second. But you really mean to tell me that you stood up and you were screaming USA and you were pumping your fist in the air because of what? To create a distraction?
At that moment, no one knew whether this was a lone shooter or something coordinated. My friend was devastated. He admitted he admired Charlie deeply. I only knew Charlie through minimal content, but would never wish to celebrate harm to anyone. Because of my background as a soldier, I was able to stay calm under stress, focus on protecting and comforting my friend. Afterward, I called my wife to let her know I was safe. Once traffic eased, we left.
Uh-huh. So that's a crock of crap. I don't know about you, but no offense to this guy here. He made a decision, and he made a very bad decision. Period, point blank. Now, I feel for this guy to a certain extent. Hear me out. Because it may be a mental health situation where he just did what he did and didn't think about the consequences of his actions. And now he has to reap what he sows, and it sucks. And he clearly is spiraling, okay? He clearly is spiraling out of control right now. Or not out of control, but he's starting to spiral because people are going after him right now. But he made a decision, and he shouldn't have made that decision. This is somebody who got hit, and he's rejoicing right there in real time, seconds after this guy is being dragged off from the event, fighting for his life. But he said he stood up. He said he stood up to try to distract the assailant, which makes no sense to me. It doesn't. It is not a good excuse. Yeah, congratulations. You played yourself. This is bad. He has more, though. He has more.
You know, all this chatter is absolutely incredible, but I'm actually really burnt. I'm honestly like the happiest person you have ever met in your entire life. And I am absolutely sick of all of my soldiers, including Charlie, dying so you guys can mock each other. Mock away and see what happens. I am done with my soldiers dying while everyone just mocks each other. Mock, mock, mock. You think that that's a solution? You know, every major religion speaks out against mockery. And I saw mockery, and I saw a mob just energized with mockery, absolutely laughing. This is John Oliver. This is Matt Walsh. This is Louder with Crowder. This is all the mockery that's existed on both sides of the equation. And it's killing my soldiers, my people. And I'm done. I don't want to see my men die anymore. I'm sick of it.
Okay, I think we had enough. Okay, I think we had enough. But he's clearly spiraling. Okay? And what happened here is he made a very wrong choice at that particular time. He shouldn't have done what he did, period. And now he's checking out social media, and social media is going in on this dude because everyone's wanting to know who this guy is and why would he be there, pumping his fist and like celebrating. It's bad, man. It's bad. He shouldn't have done what he did, but you can't pull out being a veteran and say that will suffice. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for what you did for our country. Thank you so much for your sacrifice. But in this particular moment, you did not sacrifice yourself for the betterment of these civilians that you're around. You were doing that because you were celebrating that he actually got murked right there. That's what I see. Okay? That's what I personally see. Now, I could be wrong, but I do know he made a very big mistake in one of the worst moments ever. Like, imagine if this was JFK. Let's go back to JFK or MLK Jr., okay? Any of the big iconic pew-pewings that have happened. Imagine if there was somebody in the background just going, "Grr!" Do you think that person would be in hiding right now? You know? You don't think that would be brought in for questioning or something like that? Why were you pumping your fist when this person got iced right in front of everybody? Why are you pumping up your fists? Because you're a veteran and because you were trying to protect people and you were trying to distract the assailant to aim at you? Nah, bro. That's not good. That's not good. But that actually happened. But here's the thing, though. We're seeing versions of what he did. The only difference is that these people are doing it online. They're doing it in their TikToks. They're doing it on their Facebook pages. They're doing it. It's bad. Okay? That was a very, very bad look. Very, very wrong thing that guy did. It's unfortunate. But now he has to reap what he sows. Real talk. I mean, obviously, I feel like people need to, like, you know, if they're doxing him and all that stuff, don't do that. Jesus. Let the man be. But I get it. The side eyes and the vitriol that he's getting, the anger, the frustration that he's getting from people, I get it. Because it was wrong. It was wrong. And now he has to reap that situation. He has to say sorry. He has to apologize for what he did. Okay? I mean, he even said here, losing CK is heavy, and we are still mourning. Trust that I'll be explaining myself very soon. This was 2 days ago. Okay. So, but every lie about me brings me one step closer to becoming very unalive. Okay. And at the hands of the mob. Should I lose my life for hate or entertainment? Truth will satisfy neither appetite. He said nether appetite, but it's neither appetite. I get what he's saying. I am a father. I feel the weight of Charlie's loss to his family. I stand for my fallen brothers. We are unequal in risk at this moment. So if I address my actions, it will be after some time. I didn't wish to have my face everywhere. I'm terrified for my family and sad for Charlie's too. I cannot bear both. Please pray for Charlie's family. And of course, this is, he showed this. I'll show this to you too. It's just a photo of him like huddling over one of his, I guess, another bystander there. Now, sure, at this particular moment where he's looking like he's huddling over and covering somebody else, sure, he's really doing that. I believe that, okay? I 110% that moment right here, I believe that. But when he's standing up and pumping his fist in the air, nah, you're rejoicing, guy. You're rejoicing. And yes, I get it. He is throwing a little bit of a pity party, and he is trying to throw the fact that he is a veteran out there and he's been in the ish, right? I've seen things. I get it. But at the same time, he shouldn't have done what he did. It's bad. It was a bad move. It was a bad look. And he needs to find a way to just say, I'm sorry, and then turn off the internet, turn off social media for a while, because people are going to be going after him for a minute. It's bad. Okay? It's really, really bad. And clearly he was not somebody who was there to support Charlie Kirk. Clearly, he was not there to support Charlie Kirk. He was there to do his own thing. Okay? Sad. And again, why is that guy there? I know that Charlie Kirk brings in, he said, bring the libs on, right? So maybe he was there trying to get a chance to go up there and speak to Kirk. Maybe he was. Don't know. But I will say, it was a very bad move, guys. Very, very bad move. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in, being a part of the conversation. There's so much going on. Oh, my gosh. So I had to just crunch it all. I had to put it all in one big-ass show. But if there's more information going on, we will talk about it for sure very, very soon. So please do me a favor, all right, before you head out. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button. Hit that reaction button. Of course, if you're watching on these other platforms, Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram. Well, not TikTok anymore. Twitch, Rumble, Kick. Show some love. Go over there. That'd be greatly appreciated, okay? I'll let you know if I get the TikTok turned back on. I'll let you guys know. All right? Don't forget to subscribe here, though. If you're on my YouTube channel, subscribe. Go over to my second and third channel, The Pascal Show Clips and Pascal Raw. Subscribe over there, too. That'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live or whenever I upload. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. We'll be talking very, very soon. Stay blessed out there and stay safe. A lot of craziness going on. We'll talk to you soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.